The Watauga Arts Council with your host, Cherry Johnson, serving arts in Watauga County for more than 25 years.
I'm Cherry Johnson, Watauga County Arts Council. I'm back again, and this time with one of our featured artists. This is Clayton Joe Young, and you go by Joe, right?
Yes.
And you're going to be exhibiting throughout the month of October in the Maisie Jones Gallery of the Jones House Community Center. And I think you may be very, very interested in Joe's work. The name of the show is Mountain Folk, Traditional Ways of Life in Watauga County and Surrounding Areas. And you're a photographer.
That's correct.
And you do a very, very traditional style of photography, or it has a traditional feel to it because of the subject matter primarily. First off, why photography?
Well, for one, I can't draw, so I just always been interested in photography. When I was young, I'd always try to grab the camera from my parents and take pictures. And
right.
I love to travel places and take pictures. But one of the reasons I really like photographing stuff like this is because I feel like it was starting to disappear.
Mm-hmm. So very good. Now let's talk about that. What's starting to disappear?
Well, I grew up around farming. Both my grandparents were farmers, and like my parents, neither one of them cared much about doing anything like that. So they lived pretty much, just went to the grocery store and watched TV at night. So there wasn't that connection with nature or with your working the land like I think a lot of our forefathers did.
Right, right.
And as I gotten older, I just seem like I see less and less of it. I see old barns getting torn down and new housing developments and all these, old mountain people or just farmers in general just starting to disappear, die away, and the children didn't really care to pass it on to the next generation.
So you're trying to capture and hold on to that.
I wanted to. That was my goal.
Okay, now I noticed in your photographs that we were looking at a while ago that you have a lot of very well-known folks in this community. And let's talk about that. Several of them are musicians or storytellers. Talk to me about why you would choose those people as opposed to just focusing on barns and farmers.
Well, some of them I'd read about in magazines, and I found an old Irish State magazine that had Ray Hicks in it, and I was like, I felt like looking at his pictures and at him is like it feels like almost like you could walk back in time by going to visit him. So
that's pretty much true.
It is, and so I got to go to his house, and I was just mesmerized by his family were so kind to me, and this is his lifestyle and the way he lived, and it just started kind of this thing where I like people that were trying to carry on a tradition to the next generation.
Right, and storytelling's a big part of that, and so is traditional music. Our Arts Council is very, very focused on the traditional arts. It's not all we do, but it's definitely a big part of what we do. And I was delighted to see the names of old friends like Susan Pepper and Ray Hicks and Arlie Presnell, Orville Hicks. These are folks that we have always worked with or really care a lot about. Of course, Ray's no longer with us, but various folks in the community that are really, really special to this arts council.
That's what I felt too. I feel like these are unique people that I would probably never meet anybody like again in my life.
So when you go and photograph them, I'm sure that you don't just go and snap a few photos and say, have a nice day and walk off. So you spend some time?
Yeah, you need to gain people's trust when I photograph them, because I don't pose people or tell them how to stand. I just try to capture them naturally, and that usually takes a whole afternoon where I might go visit, and then it'll be nighttime before I get back home. But the nice thing is I kind of forget about my worries and how busy I am, my schedule, and I just sit on their porch and talk to them. And I feel like, again, that's something I feel like we've kind of lost as a society sometimes, is just sit down and talk with somebody. Don't worry about what's coming on TV or the ball game's on or
what time it is.
What time it is. They just wanted to sit down and talk to you and get to know you as a person. So
that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I feel that when I look at your photographs, that's very strong. A lot of your photographs are black and white. Is that why?
Well, when I first started, I shot pretty much everything in black and white. I was a photography student at Appalachian, so I did a lot of my own printing and processing. And then there's some color in there, but in the majority of it, I just like to look at a black and white picture too.
A lot of your color photographs still have that character, though, of a black and white photograph.
Yes.
There's something very timeless about the old black and white photographs that we all grew up with, and that are now, considered almost an art form in and of themselves. But so you've in some way captured that with the color photographs. I noticed that a lot of them still have that feel to them.
And even some of the new ones I've taken, I've still, some of these pictures are recent pictures too, so I really have tried to stay connected with my subjects as much as I can, and sometimes I just like the better in black and white than I did color, like the one with Susan Pepper playing banjo on her front porch. The color just, it took away from the picture a little bit.
Yeah. Remove some of what you were trying to accomplish with the picture. I think you're really going to enjoy this exhibit. I encourage you to come by, especially if you have a yearning to tie back to the past like Joe's talking about, or if you have a real love for the heritage of our community. I think you're really, really going to enjoy this exhibit. It's really nice. Now, you're teaching at, where is it, Catawba?
Catawba Valley Community College.
And so are you trying to encourage your students in the same kind of veins? What kind of thing are you doing with them?
Well, the program I teach at, they learn all kind of types of photography. So a lot of them end up going into this type of field of photojournalism, or having their own exhibits. But I try to teach them a little bit of everything and let them kind of figure out which path they want to go down. But hopefully some of them will get, I hope I encourage a few of them to maybe start doing exhibits and documenting their community, photograph their grandparents, their, where they grew up, and
capture it while it's still there.
While it's still there, yeah.
Now, we've not yet hung Joe's show, so I haven't seen the finished product myself, but I noticed in what you gave me that you've got a lot of really neat descriptions about each photograph, not just this is Arlie Presnell, but this, for example, this photograph, Arlie Presnell sits near the doorway of his home in the Beach Creek community. Presnell is a self-made mountain man who has lived a colorful life. He is a master storyteller and has the ability to confound the listener's ability to tell truth from a tall tale. Now, you wrote that, right?
Yes.
So is this like your interpretation of the person, interpretation of the photograph?
Well, I kind of want the picture to speak for itself, and I think sometimes it's nice just to have a little bit of information there. But
I agree.
I can't describe what it's like to meet Arlie Presnell. He'll tell you these tall stories, and then you'll ask him to prove them right, and he'll prove these telling the truth most of the time. So I'm just amazed by it. He's just a master storyteller, and he's also gifted in many other talents too. But for instance, one of them, he told me him and his brother used to live in a cave in the woods. And I was like, I don't know about that. And he's like, yeah, it had a natural window in it, and we got sunlight in there, and it kept itself warm in the winter and cool in the summer. And he walked me out there one day and showed it to me.
So you had to believe him at that point.
Yeah, I saw it with my own eyes, so I had to believe it.
So some of those stories we've been hearing may be actual true stories, not
I
made
believe
up
some
stories.
of them are true.
The question is which one. So when you said photojournalism, I sort of pick up that you're doing more than just taking pictures. You're telling stories.
Yes.
So
I guess you could also call it documentary photography. It's just documenting the community you live in, trying to show for what it is.
And then taking a little bit of time to write down some of your reflections so that doesn't get lost.
And I wish I would have written down more. A lot of times there was, I wish I would have shot some video or wrote down more notes, but it's a nice thing is some of these people are still alive, and some of them, just look at a picture, it helps me remember, a lot about them too.
Right. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing this exhibit. I think it's going to be very, very nice, and I think it's going to be a great way for you to connect. October seems like it's an appropriate month for this kind of thing, because October being the fall of the year, I don't know, there's just something home about October to me, and so I think that's going to be something very special. So thank you for sharing your work with us.
You're welcome.
And thank you for coming by and sharing with me. And I hope that you'll take an opportunity to come out and meet Joe and to come and get a first-hand picture of his work. Some of his subjects are planning on being there. You might get a chance to meet the real thing in addition to the photograph, the real person, I should say. And so I encourage you to come out. I believe the reception date is October the 1st.
Yes.
And so that reception will go from 6 until 6:30 until 8. Boy, you can get tangled up quick. And so at any rate, please come in and meet Joe in person, meet some of his subject matters, and enjoy this opportunity to come and reconnect with our mountain community again. Again, thank you. And I hope you'll check our website at watauga-arts.org for this and a whole lot more.